Hello, as Senior Captain on Ladder 1, I'm excited to be here today, and I'm confident in my approach and my abilities to mitigate this incident safely and effectively. Let's begin. As the call comes in, I hear having a high-rise fire. I've got a report of victims trapped, and I've been assigned initial radio channel. Confirm my members are getting on the apparatus. They're getting geared up and they're wearing their seatbelts while they do so. I confirm my EO that he's got a route he wants to take. It's 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. I'm expecting light traffic to be starting up, people getting out of work, and kids getting out of school, as well as construction. I'm also considering other apparatus and their travel times from their stations, as well as balancing my own so that I can have time to get dressed and check the MDT for updates. With the MDT, I want to see if we have multiple calls. That's a great indicator of a working fire. And I also want to hear any info we have from the caller, if they're on scene, if they have a report of any of these victims or any further information. I'm also checking the MDT for wind speed and direction. I see we have 20 miles an hour out of the west, so that's going to be a big consideration for this call. And when all units go en route, we'll get assigned a new tactical channel that we'll move to for just this incident. So I'll call that tactical channel out to my members and confirm that we're all on that correct channel so that I can listen to that for updates also. I'm already beyond my risk versus benefit analysis, thinking this is a high-rise structure, it's large, it's residential, we should have multiple victims. And thinking about access and hydrants in the area, letting my territory knowledge inform me of that. Scanning the horizon, looking for a column of smoke or fire that I can relay to incoming crews, monitoring my radio channel, and as I arrive on location, I update my status to on scene. I place my aerial at the Alpha Bravo corner of the fire of the building, and I consider the following. Facts. This is not a high-rise. It's a 4-story senior living center. I do have fire showing from the Alpha Bravo side, so I am placed correctly at the building. And I have a high probability that there's a high life hazard with multiple victims that'll need to be either put in place, moved away from the IDLH, or rescued from the incident entirely. My own situation is that I'm the first arriving officer. I'll be taking command because my chiefs are delayed. This will be an offensive strategy, and my incident action plan is going to revolve around the high life hazard. I want primary and secondary searches in place. I'm going to want to quickly get an EMS group, large group, number of resources there. So I'm going to need a supervisor to supervise that part. And for firefighter life safety, I'm going to want water supply established quickly. We're going to have standpipes throughout the building, so I'll be able to set up close to the fire for that. I'm going to want backup lines for that, as well as also establishing multiple RIT groups around the building and the structure for anyone operating an IDLH. I do see that I'm going to have a high life hazard, so I'm going to go ahead and call for an additional alarm and add an EMS supervisor and 1 additional ambulance. All this information informs my initial radio report, which will be as follows. Ladder 1's on location. We have a 4-story senior living residential. We will have an offensive fire. Fire will be located at the Alpha Bravo side of the structure. We have winds out of the west, which is going to be hitting the Alpha side and flowing to the Charlie side for flow paths. Ladder 1 will be establishing Main Street Command, and located on the Alpha side, OEC, give me an additional alarm, add an EMS supervisor, and 1 additional ambulance to this call. So now that I finished my radio report, I've given a good size up to all the incoming crews. I want to do my 360. I'm able to see 3 sides already, so I want to peek back behind that Charlie side. I'm looking for utilities. I would have either my EO or a safety officer shut those off since he's got special training. This could be larger utilities for this type of building, commercial structures, and so on. I'm also looking for victims in windows. I'm listening for victims. I've got my thermal imager walking around the building, scanning it for any heat signatures, trying to detect flow paths if there's any open windows. And I'm also getting a ventilation profile of this building. I see that I have heavy smoke and fire on the Alpha Bravo side, and the wind is blowing in that direction across the structure, so I'm anticipating a high fire load moving in that direction with a fast moving fire. I have a common attic across the building that looks like, so we're going to need to get up there and make a quick attack while keeping our primary search and rescue viability in mind. As I come back around the front of the structure, I've been looking for hazards. I'm looking for parking, things like that. I see I have parking out front. I'll be able to use my aerial ladder. And I want to meet with a caller. I want to meet with any sort of building expert, management, anything like that can get me sets of keys I need, anything that'll help me move along that path, just to get more information, see what alarms we have, what alarms were in the where the first alarm was. I'll have my first in engine do that. Now it's time to give my follow-up radio report. Main Street Command OEC with follow-up radio report. 360 is complete. We've got utilities on the Charlie side. We do have fire moving from the Alpha Bravo towards the Charlie side. Safety 30, when you arrive on scene, handle those utilities. This will be an offensive fire. Ladder 1 will be located at the Alpha Bravo corner of the structure. We have no tick reading at this time. So that's all my radio traffic is fished. I've set up all my initial priorities. I've got my strategic goals in place, and now I want to take my companies and insert them tactically into that plan. My first incoming assignment would be that first engine arriving on scene. I want them to establish a primary water supply, and hook up to the FTCs for the building. They're going to take their high-rise bundles in along with myself and the other second arriving engine. We're going to be the fire attack group. We're going to move up to that 4th floor, start fighting fire, doing a primary search as we can. I'm going to have more crews support that primary search goals because we're going to have a large incident with multiple victims expected. My second ladder I would assign to ventilation group. I would have them ladder the building, give me a roof report, and advise that I expect it to be moving towards the Charlie. I'm going to let that senior captain handle that, so I'm just going to request CAN reports from him as he goes throughout the incident to give an idea if I need to support him, if we need to reevaluate. My second engine will be joining us up with fire attack, moving to that 4th floor. I'm going to have them bring all their high-rise bundles, 2.5 hose, along with engine 1's hose. That way we can have backups in case we have any other issues. If I want to place multiple crews around that 4th floor for fire attack, I'll have all the tools I need. I want to bring them up there with me. I also am going to have my third engine establish the initial RIT group. I'm going to move them up to the closest tenable floor, probably the 3rd floor. They're going to be strictly for firefighter life safety. And I'm going to have that 4th engine go ahead and begin a more advanced primary search. I'm going to start them out on the 4th floor. They're going to move down to the 3rd. They're going to be looking to either move victims to shelter in place. We move them down to at least the 2nd floor for that, or we would try to evacuate them completely from the building. My initial ambulance, I'm going to assign them to begin that formal EMS group beginnings. I'm going to want them to place their apparatus correctly, bring all of their equipment, stretchers, backboards, everything up to the front of the building on the alpha side. I'll designate them that side. And I'm gonna advise them also that I'm waiting for more ambulances to arrive, and I want them to have that supervisor take over the formal EMS group to handle all the victims. If we have multiple victims coming out, my plan is to have plenty of units to receive them. I've got an initial crew doing primary search along with the fire attack groups who, once we get water on the fire, we get that progress going. We've got our water supply and we start to get this knocked down. With some of those crews might be able to break off and join that primary search. With a lot of victims, we're going to need a lot of manpower to move. Some of them could be confined to beds. Some of them could be difficulties going downstairs. If the elevators aren't able to be used, we're going to have to move them to at least the 2nd floor, like I said before. So 2nd floor is actually going to become rehab and EMS and also crew staging. I can separate away on that floor to have rehab on one side just for firefighters, and then the EMS group there. They could do triage and treatment on that 2nd floor and then move them outside the structure for transport at that time. My 2nd alarm crews would hopefully start arriving now, so I'd be able to insert them in that same thing. I would want more RIT teams staggered around the structure on different floors and one out front. I would want that EMS groups added to. I'd want CAN reports from all my companies. I'd start listening for benchmarks. How's the water on the fire going? How's our water supply? I would also add another senior captain to be my water supply officer for this incident because we're going to want strong water. And I've got that supervisor for the EMS group. So I'm just re-supporting my crews. At this point, it's about backups upon backups, secondary search for that, backup for fire attack, RIT team for firefighters in distress in case that happens. And really just moving this incident along now. Once I've got those benchmarks, we've got fire under control, we'll start moving into salvage and overhaul, focus on that victim treatment, get them all transported. We let the hospitals know that we're going to have multiple victims incoming. I'd have the EMS supervisor really take the lead on that. And we'd have arson come in, start doing fire cause and origin and determination. I'd have rehab, formal rehab, the truck arrive, firefighters can get rested, get cleaned up. I also have Cascade for swapping out air bottles. If this moves into a longer term incident, I'm going to want to have multiple chiefs involved, division supervisors, and throughout this incident, I'm ready to give my formal transfer of command to that chief as he arrives. That's just going to be a modified CAN report. In the same way that I was making task, location, and objective assignments as I gave each company their assignment, I'd want to hear clear communication between them. I'd give orders. They'd repeat the orders back to me for clarification. It'd be the same way with the chief. I'd prefer to do it face to face. If I had the opportunity, I'd move out to the front for a formal transfer of command. And also at this point, once the fire's knocked down, we got everything good, I'd move the captains out front. We'd start doing kudos. We would give out commendations to crews that did well. I'd have my EO be my scribe to write all this down so I could save it for a later date for a larger after-action review. And this is going to conclude my assessment. I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I'm in line with the vision of my department, which is courage, commitment, and compassion. Thank you.